I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. Your doctor is not testing for this. You can have this for a decade and your standard lab panel will show that everything is normal and you'll be on your way. Or your lab numbers will be off and no one will explain to you how it's all connected. The exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, the body weight that will not budge no matter what you do, the brain fog, the pain, the constant cravings that feel completely out of your control. It's called insulin resistance, and once you understand it, it all starts to make sense. If you watched my last video on sugar, this is where this leads to. And if you haven't watched my video on sugar, I'm going to link it up here. Please watch it first. It is very important that you understand the entire story. Your liver plays a critical role in keeping your blood sugar stable, especially when you're fasting or when you're sleeping, because glucose is stored into the liver and then the liver then releases it as needed to keep your brain and your body homeostatic. That just means balanced and kosher. The reason why this matters is because the release of insulin is the communication for if the liver needs to release sugar or if it needs to hold on to sugar. When you eat, insulin rises, so then the liver stands down. It's like, okay, I'm not needed here because there is an intake of glucose coming in right now. But when the liver is overcrowded with fat due to excess glucose intake, make sure you watch my first video, it stops hearing the insulin signal clearly. So it continues to release and release and release glucose even when the body doesn't need any more glucose. That means that the meal that you're consuming and the liver are both drowning your body in glucose at the same time. Now, your poor pancreas is having to figure out how to manage the crazy influx of glucose into the body. It was never designed to manage that much sugar. And over time, it will stop doing it. That's what drives the blood sugar up. The excess filtering glucose in the body upsets both the pancreas and the cells. So I want to talk about how the cells are feeling about all of this while this is happening. Eventually, the cells have to protect themselves from the amount of glucose that is entering it, otherwise it will die. So in order to do that, it creates protective barriers that are less sensitive to insulin to prevent glucose from being able to enter the cell anymore. It's like, brother, we're tired. I cannot accept any more glucose. And so when that happens, the glucose is knocking on the door. Insulin's like, hey, I have glucose here. Can we come in? The cell's like, no, absolutely not. So what happens then? The sugar just stays in the blood. It causes an incredible amount of issues, which we'll go into when we talk about diabetes. But for now, let's keep talking about the mechanisms that lead up to it. Because the cells are less sensitive to the hormone insulin, then the pancreas is like, well, I need to stabilize this blood sugar. Let's keep pumping insulin. Pump, 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 pump. And eventually, the beta cells of the pancreas get tired. And they're like, no matter what I do, these cells will not take this sugar. Then they are eventually not able to produce as much insulin anymore. The initial breakdown that's happening there is the cells are not absorbing and the pancreas is pushing so hard to try to make that happen. And that biological warfare that's happening, you feel that. There are those symptoms that we're talking about. Your body is not functioning properly. Before your blood sugar ever starts to creep up high, where we're able to actually see that through your blood tests, insulin levels have already been chronically elevated. And that is because the pancreas is having to pump out so much insulin, which means your body is chronically high in insulin, which is not meant to do. The insulin is meant to come in, do its job, and leave. At any given moment, your body has two sources of fuel that it can use. It can use glucose or it can use fat. And whichever it chooses is entirely up to what hormonal situation is going on in the body. When insulin is present, your body burns glucose. When insulin is low, your body burns fat. That is a hormonal command. When insulin is chronically elevated, then your body is in constant fat storage mode, and it's suppressing the enzyme that unlocks that mechanism, which means your fat is not going anywhere. For example, whenever you are chronically consuming simple carbs all day long, you are constantly spiking your blood sugar, spiking your blood sugar, spiking your blood sugar. And the more frequently you do that, the longer your insulin levels remain high. Another interesting thing, chronically high insulin levels disrupts leptin, which is that hormone that tells you when you're full. So hunger keeps coming even though you didn't eat that long ago. So that hormone is being suppressed, so you're not being told that you're full, so you're still hungry. So it's not just I have a self-control problem, it's actually a biological deficiency of the proper hormone to speak to your body, so you're able to actually, I'm not really hungry anymore. And that's really important to have. Otherwise, it's easy to just. I want to talk a little bit about hormones specific to women, because I love you. Chronically high insulin causes the body to overproduce androgens, which are male sex hormones. Women have them too, but it overproduces them, which drives irregular cycles, hair thinning, acne, and is the primary driver of PCOS. Polycystic ovary syndrome is not primarily a reproductive problem. It's insulin resistance expressing itself through the ovaries. High insulin also throws off estrogen balance in the body, which leads to heavier periods or more insane mood swings or worse PMS. I want to quickly talk about perimenopause, because talking about estrogen naturally decreases when you're in perimenopause, and estrogen helps protect the body and the cells from insulin resistance. So if you already have insulin resistance, it actually accelerates the issue once perimenopause sets in. It's all the same process and all the same problems showing up in different ways. Most people, when they go to the doctor and they're told they're pre-diabetic, they kind of feel like, well, maybe I should do something about it just so it doesn't actually get there. But they don't realize how late in the game we are. Once your sugar is starting to be elevated, which can be tested by a standard lab test, this would show up in your glucose level and your hemoglobin A1C. Hemoglobin A1C basically takes an average of your blood sugar over 3 months, and it gives us a number that tells us if your blood sugar is being managed safely or if your blood sugar has been elevated over that period of time. Once those labs start to alter, we are in such a late stage of insulin resistance. At that point, you have probably been not feeling yourself for a long time. And the thing that's upsetting is people equate that to aging. Yeah, I don't feel like I did whenever I was 20 or whenever I was 30. Your body has been malfunctioning this entire time, and I guarantee you, if we were to fix that broken system, then you would feel like a completely different person in a completely different body. In the beginning, I mentioned that there is a lab test that is not standardized in primary care called the fasting insulin blood test. Fasting insulin is not on your typical standard blood work because insulin resistance is not a diagnosis. There's not a diagnostic code for it. It's not a disease in the system. But insulin resistance is absolutely a disease in the body and can absolutely be treated. But your primary care provider has 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes if you're lucky to see you, and they pop up your routine lab draws and see, oh, hemoglobin A1C and glucose are fine, so you're good to go. The system is just waiting for you to land in pre-diabetes and diabetes zone, then they'll start throwing some meds at you. Don't worry, we got a med for that. Now let's talk about what actually helps all of these dilemmas. Decreasing your processed food intake full of fructose, eating less overall simple carbohydrates, increasing your fiber and protein intake in every single meal will help slow down the release of glucose and fructose into the body, which gives your body the rest it is begging you for. Then insulin levels are able to actually drop in the body. Then hormone-sensitive lipase that we talked about is able to turn back on, which then releases that stubborn fat out to actually be burned. I will scream about fiber forever, but I do really want to give a huge shout out to exercise. Oh my gosh, exercise. Exercising isn't just important because you're burning calories. I need to burn off more than I eat. It's so much more than that. Your body is not working efficiently to clear sugar out of the bloodstream because there's so much metabolic dysfunction going on. There is another way to bypass that system and help release glucose, which is through muscle contraction. Muscle contraction literally works as a glucose dumping sink straight out of the bloodstream. It just pulls in glucose and pulls in glucose, and it's able to take care of it and protect your bloodstream. It's not just the exhausted cell's job to accept it and burn it for energy. The more muscles you have on your body, the bigger your glucose sink is, which means the more glucose it can clear on its own without the pancreas having to do so much work. Resistance training, which means adding weight to any form of movement, is so important because it is the only way to bypass the dysfunctional process of the ability to be able to remove that excess sugar from the blood. If you're watching this and you have recognized yourself in every symptom that I have mentioned, then the intervention needs to go deeper. I'm working on something behind the scenes. I have built a 12-week system called Body Literacy. It's built with the foundation that this channel is being built off of. Actually understanding what's going on inside of the body instead of just being given a list of things to do with no why behind it, because that has never instilled meaningful change in anybody. We will start first by getting the right labs ordered, all in one lab draw. We will get a fasting insulin because we now know how important that is. We'll also get that hemoglobin A1C, which is that 3-month average of blood sugar, to see where we are in that world. We will also order inflammation markers to see the level of inflammation in your body, and as well as a thyroid panel, because thyroid could also be a critter hiding behind some of these symptoms that you're feeling as well. So it would be good to rule that out. Once we get your lab results, we will do an intake appointment and we will read through every single thing. And we'll discuss what's actually going in your body and be able to begin to develop an individual personalized plan to get you into a safer metabolic state. And you will feel that difference. By the end of the 12-week program together, you will retest and the results will speak for themselves. You will get to see exactly what changed and why. This is not a generic wellness coaching program. This is body literacy, taught by me. If you want to know more or think that this program may be the right fit for you and you're ready to learn about what's actually going on and gain some confidence and control over your own body, then you can book a free wellness consultation call. The link is in the description. Now that you understand what insulin resistance is and what is driving it, the next question is, what do you actually do at the grocery store? How do you read a nutrition label? And what are you really looking at? That is the next video. Make sure you are subscribed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Start where you are.